Hi everybody, salam. Welcome back to my channel. So in this lesson, we are going to learn the verb to have, which is داشتن. And before that, please do not forget to subscribe to my channel. In one of the previous lessons, we have gone over the Persian subject pronouns and the verb to be. You can find the link to this lesson in the description box. This is an important lesson. If you are still not sure about the subject pronouns and the verb to be in Persian, I highly recommend you to go over this lesson first. And in this lesson, we are going to learn a new verb, which is the verb داشتن, which means to have. And we are going to learn that in the present tense. In order to conjugate the verb داشتن, to have, we need the present stem of that. The present stem is dar, which you just need to memorize it. And then we need to attach these verbal endings, which we have already covered in previous lessons. We attach these verbal endings to the present stem. So it's going to read as دارم، داری، دارد، داریم، دارید، دارند. There's also an informal conjugations for the subject pronouns او، شما, and آنها. So we're gonna start with او. دارد becomes داره. So the letter dal becomes a silent he. Next one, darid. This letter dal becomes a noon. So darin. And for anha, darand becomes daran. Before we go over the examples, let's also go learn the negative as well. So for the negative, we just add na to the present stem and then we conjugate it. So here, nadaram, nadari, nadarad, which we said the informal is nadare. And then nadarim, nadarid, the informal nadarin. And then nadarand, informal nadaran. There's a difference in verbal ending between the verb بودن, which we have learned in one of the previous lessons, and داشتن. So بودن, we said for third person singular, there is no verbal ending. So او هست. As you can see here, there's no verbal ending here. But the verb داشتن on the left side for third person singular, it does have a verbal ending, and this is the verbal ending. So او دارد. This verbal ending also applies to all verbs. So all the other verbs in the present tense, they also get this verbal ending. So it's only, back to the right side, the verb بودن. So it's only the verb بودن in the third person singular. Just remember that no verbal ending. Here you can see the same example for each subject pronouns. So in Persian, when the subject pronouns changes, also the conjugation changes as well. All right, so let's read through them. The first one, من دو کتاب دارم. Here we can also add ta in there and say instead من دو تا کتاب دارم. In the next slide, I explain the difference between using a ta and not using the ta. But the ta applies, we can add it in all the other sentences as well. You can see there's like a space there. This is the space to add the ta. All right, next one, تو دو کتاب داری or تو دو تا کتاب داری. Next, او دو کتاب دارد or again, او دو تا کتاب دارد. Next, ما دو کتاب داریم or ما دو تا کتاب داریم. Next, شما دو کتاب دارید or شما دو تا کتاب دارید. Next, آنها دو کتاب دارند or آنها دو تا کتاب دارند. Now, let me explain to you when we use ta and when we don't use ta. So here we have the same example. من دو کتاب دارم. There's no ta here. When there's no ta, it sounds more proper. It is more formal. And it's more used in formal settings like in the news, presentations. But when we use ta, من دو تا کتاب دارم, The meaning is still the same. Nothing has changed in the meaning, but this one is just more informal. It is more used in the spoken language. So if you want to sound more normal when speaking, it's better to use ta, because when you don't use it, then you're going to sound very proper. And also ta can come after the adverb chand. So chand means some or a few. So we can also add it after that. So man chand ta kitab daram. Now, what is the meaning of ta? You might be wondering, what does that even mean? So the meaning of ta, actually ta is a very important word in Persian. It has many different meanings and many different functions. It could be a conjunction, it could be a preposition. But here, in this context, it actually means unit, like as an individual component. So basically, you are saying something like man do ta kitab daram. It's something like I have 2 units of books, something like this. And then the other thing you need to know, ta does not come when we have the article a or number 1. We cannot use ta after that. So من یک تا کتاب دارم. This is wrong. So we need to scratch that out. Now let's go over some examples, but before that, I highly recommend you to go over the vocab list for this lesson first. Then you can come up with these examples yourself. So let's go over the vocab for this sentence here. So 3 is se, brother is برادر, only is فقط, 2 is دو, and sister is خواهر. من 3 برادر ندارم. فقط 2 خواهر دارم. Alright, one thing here is that, as you can see here, for the second clause, I, which in Farsi is man, we don't need to have that here because man has been already mentioned in the first clause, so it's going to be repetitive if we put another man here. And then also both these nouns, برادر and خواهر, they are singular, but in English, as you can see, they're both plural. In Persian, they stay singular because there are numbers before them already indicating that the nouns are plural. Next example, you have 10 pants. So 10 is 10, pants is shalwar. تو 10 تا شلوار داری. And the ta is in a bracket. Without the ta is more proper. With the ta is more informal and it's more common. Next one, we want to say she has a long blue skirt. Long is بلند, blue is آبی, skirt is دامن. او یک دامن بلند آبی دارد. So here we need to have اضافه دامن بلند آبی, and also remember we said after the article a we cannot have a ta. And the informal of this sentence is او یه دامن بلند آبی داره. Next example, we want to say we have a blue shirt and a red shirt. So the article a is یک, and then blue is آبی. Shirt is پیراهن, more informally is پیرن. And then red is قرمز. ما یک پیراهن آبی و یک پیراهن قرمز داریم. A little bit more informal, یک becomes ye, which as I said earlier, یک is even optional, we don't have to say it. And then here there is a different pronunciation for the conjunction va in the informal. So we basically don't really pronounce va in the informal language, and it's like we are instead putting a short vowel o on the letter before that. So this sentence is going to read in informal ما یه پیراهن آبی و یه پیراهن قرمز داریم. Next example, you have a few beautiful old hats. So a few is chand, beautiful قشنگ or زیبا, old is قدیمی, and hat is کلاه. شما چند کلاه قشنگ قدیمی دارید. If we want to be a little bit more informal, دارید becomes دارین. And then also we need to say تا to. So شما چند تا کلاه قشنگ قدیمی دارین. Next example, they have 6 expensive purse. 6 is shesh. And then the second one, shish, is more informal. Expensive is geran. More informal, gerun. And purse is kif. Kif, it also means bag as well. And there is a more specific term for purse. It's kife zanane, which literally means women's bag. But it's more common just to say kif. So this sentence is آنها 6 کیف گران دارند. A little bit more informal would be اونها 6 تا کیف گرون دارن. Stay tuned for the next lesson. Next lesson, we are going to learn 2 new interrogatives. The interrogative how much and then the interrogative how many. We reached the end of this lesson. If you have any questions or any comments, any feedback, please write it in the description box below. And also, if you like this lesson, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. So I'll see you in another lesson. Khuda Hafiz.